Hi guys, how are you? This is Lois. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're well and safe wherever you are. Today I'm here to address one big issue that is coming up a lot of times. This is a question that is showing up in my inboxes lately, and the question is, Lois, how can I change my Canadian study permit into a work permit from within Canada? So, are you curious? Are you a prospective international student? Are you an international student in Canada? Are you planning to come to Canada to study or work? Then this video is for you. So call on each other, share and like this video, and let us explore this question, okay? Yes, I am a regulated Canadian immigration consultant and I'm based here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And I do help people with their immigration processes, applications, representations, whatever help you need. You can always seek my services. Head on to my website www.mileleimmigrationservices.ca, and I'm going to pin the link to that website in the description part of this video. Please be sure to book a consultation. I'm getting way too many requests and I cannot address them by emails. So to prioritize that, kindly book a consultation on the website. Okay, so as I said, this is one of the most popular questions that I'm getting these days, and I'm finding that a lot of people are finding studies as an easier way to enter Canada these days, but their overall goal is not necessarily to study. Okay, they want to come to Canada. There's long processing times, there's backlogs, and one of the easiest ways, and I'm saying easiest ways these days, is to come here as an international student. If you want to explore that, kindly reach out to me and we can explore your study options. Okay, and now these people, they are hoping that once they enter Canada and they can look for employment, they can seek employment, and not necessarily do their time as a student. They hope that there is a way that they can just change that from study permit and then get into a work permit. Some clarification there: both those two permits, they are temporary. Okay, they are temporary permits and you come here on temporary visas. So on a study permit you come on a study visa, and on a work permit you come on a work visa. Okay, a little background on the study permit. The study permit allows you to work. You can work in Canada as a student on your study permit and you won't need a work permit. However, if you're on a work permit in Canada, you can't study without a study permit, okay? But you can study without a work permit because the study permit allows you to work. It has some limitations, and I'm not gonna get into those limitations. I've dealt with the study programs for so long. Please look through my other study videos that I have done, okay? So now, what is the answer? I don't necessarily have a yes or no straight answer. So I would say it's both a no and a yes. And I'm starting with a no. Is it possible to change? No, it's not possible, but there's a way out. So that's why I'm saying it's a no and a yes. So how about we handle the no, the bad news, and then I give you the solution, right guys? Okay. So generally, you cannot change or convert a study permit into a work permit. Like, we don't have that button that you can just go and say, ding, study permit in, work permit out. Or study visa in, work visa out. We don't have that exchange program that allows you to directly convert one visa to the other. We don't have that, okay, from within Canada, okay? So, so then, how do you do that? How do you do that? Number one, you realize that most, as I said, because of the obligations of a study permit, you may not necessarily need a work permit because you can work on your study permit. And better still, you realize that as a student, you can even come here on a work permit and a special class of a work permit that is called a co-op work permit. What is a co-op work permit? Not everybody does understand this, and I just want to touch this. There are programs, lots of programs here in Canada, that once you study, they put you in the field for some kind of an internship, a mandatory internship that is part of your curriculum. Okay? Excuse me. So for you to come to that kind of a program, when you apply for your study permit, you must also apply for a co-op work permit to enable you go work for whoever employer you'll be placed with after you graduate from your school, which, as I said, is part of your curriculum. Okay, so but that is not a work permit that you can use and work for any employer. It is specifically a co-op work permit. Okay, all right. If you're finding trouble understanding that, I am happy to get you into those kind of courses that put you into the employment, because the moment you are already placed with an employer, if you have good character and good work ethic, and these people like you, most likely they are going to hire you upon graduation. So again, back to the question. No, you cannot convert your study permit into a work permit. You will have to discontinue your studies and inform IRCC that you're discontinuing your studies so that you can pursue the work permit. Now, you gotta be careful, because you do not want to quit studies before you get a hold of your work permit. Okay, or you have that job offer. You do not want to do that. So when I said yes, it's possible, there's a way around it, and that's what I want to address at this point. Okay, remember, when you're here, you're a student, you have your status. Okay, it's not expiring, because most of these study permits, they are valid for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 6 years, depending on the length of your course. Okay, if you really don't want to finish that course, but you want to get employment, then you need to get busy. You need to start looking for employment, but you have to keep going to school and maintain your school status. So look for employment from wherever you can, seek as many employers as possible, and get that job offer. And my friend, it's not just any job offer. This job offer that you're going to get is a job offer that is going to be accompanied by a positive LMIA or an LMIA exemption. Okay, and that's usually the tough part. And I tell people, I don't lie to people, that getting an employer who is going to go out of their way to get you an LMIA, that is the tough part. And plus, remember, as a student, you're still working without needing an LMIA. Okay, so you're walking a very thin line here as a student. Okay, because you're already allowed to work without an LMIA. Yes, you're working 20 hours a week. If now you want to jump ship, on the other hand, you want to be full-time employment, then you need an employer with an LMIA or an LMIA exemption. Okay, now this is now where you have to play your ball right, so that you don't lose status. Okay, you do not want to lose status, because if you happen to lose status from one status to the other, you will have to leave Canada. Now, there's no shame like having to leave Canada because you lost your status as a student that already brought you here in a genuine manner, and now because you're chasing something that wasn't achievable, you ended becoming out of status or falling out of status, and maybe you're not even in a position to reinstate your status, because now when you reinstate your status, you have to explain, like, why did you even run out of status in the first place? And then you say, oh, I came as a student and I was pursuing employment. Most likely they're not going to reinstate your status. Okay, so be careful, be very careful. So now make sure you're in school, get a hold of the job offer and the LMIA. The moment you have that, now this is where you have to be careful. What do you do to change them so that you change from one status to the other? You do what we call a change in conditions. Okay, that is the kind of an application you do. You apply to change conditions from a study permit into a work permit. Okay, remember, be very very careful so that you do not lose both statuses. Okay, The best course of action that I always recommend if you've come here as an international student is please just finish your studies, whether it's 1 year, because the moment you're done with your studies, you qualify for the open postgraduate open work permit. And that open work permit is an open work permit that doesn't have any restrictions. You can work for anybody, anywhere, as many employers, as many hours as you can. And the work experience that you gain from that open work permit qualifies you to apply for permanent residence upon finishing your work upon finishing your studies and that work permit. Okay, so my friend, that is a very easy and almost direct pathway to permanent residence. So it's easy for you to move from studies to permanent residence without necessarily having to look for an employer, because both your study permit and the postgraduate work permit allow you to work without the need of applying for an LMIE. Okay, now I have to appreciate, and the reason I'm saying this is the reason this issue has been showing up in my inbox is because some people are finding themselves in very tough spots. Okay, some of them not necessarily a result of their actions, but you know, at times life happens and we find ourselves in bad positions. That doesn't mean that you have to lose your status in Canada as a student. You just have to be smart. Okay, guys, and this is where I come in. You have to be smart. I'm finding people who are not properly advised before coming to Canada, and that's why I tell you, before you start making these immigration steps in your home country, please book a consultation. Talk to a professional. Stop just talking to your friends and relatives and getting conflicting information and information that doesn't place you in the right path of changing from study permit to becoming a permanent resident. Before you come to Canada as a student, you need to have a clear path of how you will become a permanent resident. So if you need that, book a consultation with me and I'll be happy to advise you. This is the province you come to. This is the kind of a course that you do. This is how long you need to study, and this is the number of points that you have upon graduating that are going to help you become a permanent resident. So what I'm finding is some people are finding themselves like they chose a hard course or the wrong course or an unemployable course or a really long course, and now they're like, you know what, especially when you take up a long course, you risk running out of finances. And you know, international students, they can tell you international studies in Canada, they are not cheap. So if you're unable to sustain yourself for the next 4 years as an international student, then you may want, and those are some of the reasons why people are telling me, Lois, I want to change from studies to work. Okay, maybe you don't necessarily have to do that. Talk to me so that we see, out of the situation that you are in, are there other options? Maybe do you need to change course? Do you need to change the length of your school? Do you even need to change school? Do you even need to change provinces? So there are so many options. We need to evaluate that to see which is your quickest way to permanent resident. Yes, I know you're here as an international student, but please don't wait until you're running out of options, you're running out of time, and your back is between a rock and a wall, and now you're feeling like, I don't have options, I don't know what to do, I might have to leave Canada and go back home upon graduating. So don't wait until you get there. Talk to me, consult with me sooner rather than later, so that I help you look for a solution, because as I say, those are the people who are finding themselves with this question. They're like, Lois, I want to change my study permit into a work permit. I hope now I have clarified that. I hope you have a better picture, and if you need my services, if you need me, if you need my advice, please, the only way I can prioritize your questions, I have so many questions, I have so many inquiries, kindly book a consultation on my website, and I will put the consultation booking link there, and I'll be happy to help you. I'll meet you one-on-one via Zoom, and we will chat and discuss your best options here in Canada. Whether you're in Canada or whether you're abroad, before you take up that step, please be informed so that you don't fall into these issues later. Okay, guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.